Well, hello, my fellow quarantined Tai Chi practitioners. I am putting this up so that I can share some concepts with you from Master Wang's Dublin seminar in 2019 that you can work into your incredibly intense private practice, which I know that you're engaging in now that we can't go to class. One of the big deals, and these concepts are things that he made a big deal out of. The big deal, if I can kind of condense this down a little bit, is one, opening the form, and two, the principles contained in Lan Jai and Tambien, lazily tying the coat and single whip. The first thing he had us do was start incorporating the lifting of the head. Now, everybody knows you're supposed to lift your head, but then there are, as in everything, degrees. In trying to come up with a good concept to share with people, I came up with the concept of prairie dog head. Now, what do prairie dogs do? They get their head up like this. When a prairie dog comes out of his head, out of his hole, he doesn't come out of his hole like this. Because you might see the coyote here, but miss the snake right here. When prairie dogs come out of their hole, they come up just like this way, the way that we should be when we're looking around. Now, the thing to remember is this energy coming up is not a static energy. It's not like you put a rod in your back and there we go, I'm going to do my Tai Chi now. No, that energy is rising. It's counterbalanced by the energy that is sinking. There's a big bow right here. And I like to think of these bows in terms of energy starting from the middle and going in two directions. That counterbalance between the yin and the yang is something we're going to be talking about. So that this becomes more alive, okay? When this lifts up and you want to relax down here, because this relaxes down, this lifts up. Well, the tendency is that when you relax down here, your butt sticks out. So how do you get your butt in? Well, you don't use your glutes and tuck them in like this way so that you look like a shrimp, to use Master Wang's imagery. What you do is you engage your adductors here. When you engage your adductors, that naturally causes the pelvic structure, the structure itself, to come forward, so these muscles can stay relaxed back here. So you engage these muscles here. Your adductor muscles, they attach from here and go up to your pubic bone. That is the beginning of cultivating the dang, that little bitty bit of pong that lives right up here they talk about. So you lift here and you let this relax down, and then you stabilize that with the pong in your dang and the pong in your knees. Now for me, the biggest deal about getting this lifting is the control it gives you with your balance. You can, because what this does is this helps you identify and cultivate your axis, that line of energy that goes from the top of your head right straight down through between your legs. And that axis is extremely important. So you want to start cultivating that. And so what happens is when you get in touch, when you find this axis here, you can move this axis over to your weighted leg, and then the other leg is very free, okay? And you can keep that by maintaining this lift. See, then it doesn't really matter what you're doing with the other leg, okay? The fact that that's the first thing that we do, I don't think is a coincidence. So what Master Wang talked about, when you stand here, the first thing you do, you relax your shoulders, you lift your head. Then you sink down, with the head is lifted. See, you can take your time because your balance is good, because you've gotten in touch with your vertical bow. Now, the next thing he says, okay, we're here. Now we're going to make sure this is relaxed. We're working on, we've got the dang working here, working that energy there. This is lifting and this is relaxed. Now, I'm going to skip ahead to the raising of the arms because he talked about you raise the arms with enough energy it takes to lift a leaf. Now, how are you going to know what it takes to lift a leaf if you've never tried to lift a leaf? So, the exercise that I give my students, there's a thing in scuba diving called negative buoyancy. When you're negatively buoyant, that means you've got your weight in the water just right so that you're not either sinking nor rising up. So I would have people pretend your arms are they're negatively buoyant. They're not rising, they're not falling, they're held right there by the energy of the water, or in this case, the energy of the ambient chi. So then take a penny, drop the penny in the palm of your hand and feel the weight of that penny. Take the penny off, feel the difference, and come back to your negatively buoyant position. When you do that, what you're doing is you're cultivating sensitivity in your hand so you can tell the difference between whether the penny's there or whether it's not. And from there, you can start adding lighter and lighter things. You're just getting the feel of that. You're getting that sensitivity so that now, when you are lifting here, you can sink there and you can feel that, okay? Whenever your arms come out, coming out, that's a yang action. Coming in is a yin action. Well, it doesn't matter whatever action it is, it's predominantly yang. So there's always a little yin, there's always a little, the idea of drawing back is there. When you bring your hand back toward you, the idea of expanding out is there. That way, it's easier for you to get the feel of the pung as something that is dynamic, okay? It's not, oh, I'm all expanded here, I must be good. No. You want to cultivate that relationship between the yin and the yang in everything that you do. So, when we're here, and this starts to come up, then when it comes down, it's shoulders, elbows, and wrists, okay? Now, do as I say, not as I do. When I'm talking and thinking, I'm going to start doing this. That's something to be worked against. Now, the other thing that I forgot to tell you, when you're standing here and you lift here and you relax down, you sink the chest. Now, I wrestled with that for a long time because in our culture, if something sinks, it sinks like a rock, okay? This is not the case at all. The sternum here compresses back. And when you do that, that puts you in touch with this horizontal bow that goes from shoulder to shoulder. And it is the relationship between the horizontal bow and the vertical bow that gives you another element and another layer of your axis that helps with your balance. Also, this opens the door to the ability to sit deeper into your form. You know, they say you sit like you're sitting on a stool. Well, if you're sitting on a stool and you're like this, well, you got to put your butt out and have your head over here to counterbalance that. Well, if you allow your chest to compress and allow your arms to come out, then you can sit back much further, okay? If you're stiff like this, you're going to lose your balance. So that ability to compress here allows your energy to come forward to create the counterbalance so they can sit further back. Okay. So when you're here, this relaxes, the chest sinks. This lifts. You sink into the quad a little bit, sink into your ankles a little bit. Come right over here. This is, you can always find little corrections here and sinking in and lifting in, and it'll always make your form a little better. So when you come up slowly with just enough energy to lift a leaf, then the shoulders come down, the elbows come down, the wrists come down. You see the wrists here? So that when you come here, you make an arc when you come up here. Don't come up straight. When you make this arc here, your wrists set, okay? You set your wrists. So then when you turn, here. Now when you shift, there's a little dip here, and then when you come forward, there's a little dip here. When you, see, you want to get your head up here so that you can do this at whatever speed that you want. And then you sit back, you see. You do a clean loo before you shift your weight. And then when you come this way here, you get this bow up here so that you can come forward much more slowly. You have much more control over what you're doing. I would suggest to you that anytime you find you want to do something quick, that one, if you want to, you know, you're here and you feel compelled to do that quick, okay? Get suspicious of your balance. Something I've had my students do, it's something I do occasionally. Every time you go to one leg, do it as slowly as you can, like we did in the open. See? When you come around here, you're coming over here, you're going to bring this up. Take your time with it. Take your time with it. When you're doing your Lan Jai, try not to do it too fast. When you're doing your Dan Bien, make sure that you are in control of your leg. And I find that it's the little movements. You know, when you're here, when you're coming around here, you see, if you have this horizontal bow in place, just gives you better balance, okay? So I would recommend you do our negative buoyancy exercise to get your arms sensitive, because eventually you will be able to feel the ambient chi, the yang side chi, the yin side chi, you see? And that will, you'll start making your movements in terms of more yin, more yang, less yin, less yang, so that your motions are fully coordinated. And so to leave you with this thought, when this is lifted here, you contact heaven. When this is sunk down here sufficiently, you're rooted in the earth, and you train, and you live, and move and have your being literally between heaven and earth. So, stay well, train hard.